Dr. Dahiru, this issue of genocide against Christians and the killing of Muslims in Nigeria seems not to be going away. We hear that the big story in today's front page of the Punch, alleged Christian genocide. U.S. Congress begins full-scale probe into Nigeria's killings. Nigerian church leaders to testify at Congress Thursday. Tinubu Peace emissary meets part of Christian Fulani leaders. Is this too little, too late? What are your thoughts? We hear that Majeed Dahiru, who been mentioned by the U.S. House, have rejected their inclusion on the list of people who they want to look at.
In all of these conversations, something became very clear to me. It's like people don't understand the meaning of genocide, particularly those in government and those that are sounding defensive, particularly in the Muslim community, unfortunately so. They do not understand the meaning of genocide. Genocide is a peculiar pattern of killing that involves the identity of the victims and the perpetrators. That is, when people are killed because of their faith, when people are killed because of their ethnicity, when people are killed because of their race, when people are killed sometimes because of their political persuasion, that is, it has to do with the identity of the victim, especially when the perpetrator is of a hostile identity as well. So we are still fixated on this narrative that all Nigerians are victims. And I said, no. We are discussing genocide. All Nigerians cannot be considered as victims because the major culprit here, the jihadi groups operating in Nigeria, ISWAP, Boko Haram, and killer headsmen are all of the Muslim faith. They kill Muslims as well, but it does not count when we are discussing genocide. But once they cross the line to somebody else's faith, like Christians, no matter how insignificant the number is compared to the killings of Muslims, the red light of genocide is beamed immediately. You see, this simple misunderstanding of genocide has brought us down this road. So what we are saying is, whereas we've had killings across the country, but when you have jihadi groups targeting Christians cannot be faulted in Nigeria for saying that there's a genocide against members of their community. And the solution is simple. Stamp out insecurity. The semantics of whether it has got to genocidal proportion or not, or somebody feeling offended that they didn't talk about us, they're talking about Christians. Christians complained and petitioned the authorities. The United States of America has, as part of its foreign policy, protection of rights of religious freedoms across the globe. Not just Christian religious freedom, all religious freedoms. It might interest you to know, sir, that Saudi Arabia, China, and Myanmar feature prominently on the State Department list of countries of particular concern. While Saudi Arabia features in that list because, of course, there's no other religion that's allowed in Saudi Arabia to exist. But in the case of China, America designated China a country of particular concern because of its persecution of the Uyghur Muslim population of China. That is, in this instance, it is because of Muslims in China that America is concerned, not Christians alone. Now, if you come to Biafra, the persecution and the genocide against its Muslim Rohingya population is the reason why Myanmar, or what you call Burma, the country called Burma, is in the list of the CPC. So it means that in some places where Muslims are persecuted, America has raised concerns. Where Christians are persecuted, Americans are raising concerns. So America is not fixated only on Christian rights or freedom of religious worship as Christians. It's about religious freedom. So in the case of Nigeria, they are saying that these groups are targeting Christians. Christians have spoken out. I'm not aware of any Crusader Christian group in Nigeria. It does not exist. And so, why are we having this conversation over and over, rather than using this as a wake-up call to say, look, we must do the needful. I've told people often and often,
all right,
that as Muslims in Nigeria, even though we are victims as well as other non-Muslims, but the fact that the groups that are complicit in these killings claim to be Muslims places a special responsibility on us as Muslims to empathize with our Christian brethren when they are crying out now.
Okay.
To say, look, we feel your pain, we understand what you're going through, even though we are going through the same, but we take responsibility because we know that some of our own may have gone rogue, may have turned to terrorists to terrorize you. So we are trying to call on you to join hands together with us now, as a nation, as a people, to defeat this evil once and for all.
Okay, Dr. Dahiru.
The continuous defensive approach and trying to shut down people that are saying we are being killed and it's getting to genocidal proportion is unhelpful. Okay. It's provocative.
Dr. Dahiru. Yeah.
I can't say this enough.
Interesting point there. We hear that the paper has also written that some of those invited, to speak at that hearing of the House Committee on Appropriations. Remember, Donald Trump had put Congressman Riley Moore in charge of that, and he's in the House GOP Appropriations, representative there on House Appropriations Committee. So he is not backing down. He was on Fox News on Sunday. This is what the paper is saying. Congressman tackles Tinubu. This is Riley Moore, Republican, in an interview with Fox News on Sunday, said, quote, "We've already started that investigation, and it's the House Appropriations Committee. We're working with other relevant stakeholders in Congress, including the Foreign Affairs Committee, always also working with the leadership to present findings to the president as soon as we can, and once we have some real ground truth from our perspective." Blah, 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 blah. He says, according to him, what is going on in the country is horrific. Quote, horrific, these killings of brothers and sisters in Christ, but we, and the president has said it, we're going to stop this. Okay, and he commented on Tinubu's pushback that Trump claims do not represent Nigeria's reality. He says Moore countered the president, Tinubu, saying, unfortunately, that is completely false. I mean, there are states in Nigeria that have blasphemy laws. People who are facing death penalty right now for blasphemy against Islam. There's a person, quote, there's a person right now who is held in prison for defending himself from an attack by a Muslim militant from the Fulani tribe. He defended himself and is facing the death penalty. So there's a serious persecution happening in Nigeria. And President Tinubu, who is in a difficult position and trying to protect his interest there in that country, but they are complicit in this to one degree or the other with statements like this. So what do you make of the government's approach to this? Going out to say there's no genocide in Nigeria. And I mean, the Foreign Affairs Minister even looking at the Nigerian Constitution, saying the Constitution protects all freedoms, guarantees freedom of religion, freedom of worship, and all that. And then now, at the last minute, the president sending so-called peace emissary, special advisor, peace emissary, with Dr. Abiodun Eshiet, to go meet with Fulani communities and Christians in Plateau State.
That is an acknowledgement. This last point you made about meeting Muslim and Christian leaders is an acknowledgement that the crisis in the Plateau has religious connotations. And for those that are saying the numbers, if you isolate Plateau crisis, the numbers on the Christian side is disproportionately high, and the perpetrators are Muslims. There could be other underlying factors. Struggle for land resources, grazing route, whatever I want to call it. But the victims appear to predominantly of a particular faith, the Christian faith, while the perpetrators are mostly of the Muslim faith. I don't know why we are not thinking normally. I don't know why people are not just logical. And now I've said it that the solution is not a peace meeting. The solution It's a security crackdown on whoever is responsible for killing anybody across all sides. Whoever kills a Fulani man and steals his cattle should be brought to justice immediately. Citizens who simply share ethnic or religious identity with those they perceive to have violated their own properties and life should be able to prevent it from happening. That's what the president has wanted in the jungle. Or when it happens, the perpetrators should be brought to justice. This is the least the state can do. These peace meetings are unhelpful. You see, being law-abiding, being peaceful as a citizen, it's a charitable activity. It is a must. You must be law-abiding. You must be peaceful. You don't have a choice. Nobody should be begged to be peaceful. Nobody should be begged to be law-abiding. The state should compel and enforce law and order and enforce peace and security across the land within a framework of justice, equity, and fairness. That's all.
All right.
Now, as per the argument by the Minister for Foreign Affairs, I find it disingenuous. You see, the Minister for Foreign Affairs should know that the global community have intelligence report from within Nigeria. They have agents here. They have emissaries here. They have embassies here. They have diplomatic missions here. And they are aware that the constitution that you are holding and showing them that this is what binds us as a secular country has been undermined by many states in the Muslim North that introduce Sharia law, which is contrary to the constitution, which undermines the constitution, which undermines religious freedoms, which institutionalizes persecution of non-Muslims, especially Christians. Why are we living in this denial? Why? I've made the point severally that any state you see, any entity, any sovereign entity anywhere in the world, you see that is governed by Sharia law. In such an entity, Christians don't enjoy equal rights with Muslims. It is embedded in the Sharia law itself. That is a hallmark of the Islamic State. That is the foundation for the persecution I'm talking about. You don't enjoy equal status. A non-Muslim can never lead a Muslim Sharia-governed state. There are levels in life you cannot rise to. In fact, you exist at the mercy of the dominant Muslim group. And that is a fundamental contradiction to the Constitution of Nigeria. Fundamentally, no matter how we try to sell absurdity in this country, in the name of scholarship or whatever, it can never make sense. That's why I have dedicated my entire body of public work, intellectual work, to the dismantling of all religious interference in the affairs of state. The state and religion must be separated firmly. Why the Constitution should guarantee all religious groups the free practice of their religion without inhibition, but without imposing their values on others. You can't have a law in Kano, for instance, to prevent the consumption of alcohol, because religion does not allow it. Because the religion does not prevent you from taking alcohol. Why should it prevent the person from taking alcohol? Why must you even go a notch higher by destroying people's businesses that are engaged in the sale and distribution of alcohol because your religion does not like it? You have crossed into somebody's red line. You have violated somebody's economic rights. The same way, for instance, if a state in the south tries to make a law and say, okay, people must consume alcohol to reside in this state, how would you feel? And say it's a political site. For you to reside in this state, you must take alcohol first thing in the morning. So simple. If you want to take alcohol, you take. If you don't want to take, leave others out to take.
All right. Okay.
That's the kind of freedom we want.